I'm Darren Bradshaw. I'm a manager in South Eastern Trust. I work in Torview Resource Centre. Torview Resource Centre is an adult day centre. Well, I suppose really my journey started because I really wanted to go to art college, but mum and dad wouldn't let me. They told me to go find a job. The BTEC was quite an interesting course, so it was based over 3 years and there were a number of placements planned for during that. So I suppose through that course I was able to secure a placement at Torview Resource Centre, which was the first time I'd come across an adult day centre. Because I was still in training on a course, the placement was really focused on helping staff there facilitate activities. A lot of the staff there also provided help with personal care and food serving and making sure people were safe. They were a very creative team. I was very lucky to meet the people that I did. So after my placement ended, I was able to continue some voluntary role there, and when a first new role appeared for the equivalent of a Band 2 care assistant, I applied for it and was very lucky to get that role. So that was a temporary role because of funding to begin with, and then it became permanent after a period of time. So I did that for quite a number of years, and I suppose really I had an opportunity to go and be involved with what was called some person-centred thinking and planning training, and that was like a moment when I realised what we were doing was quite important. There was a move to try and move towards other posts at the day centre, and I was encouraged to apply for them. So I got a band, the equivalent of what would be a Band 3. It was called Daycare Worker Level 1 in those days. In daycare we carry a caseload, so we're responsible for a certain amount of service users and maintaining records and checking in with them to make sure they're all right and the service is meeting their needs. So I had an opportunity then in that role to learn about that aspect of support and to learn at that stage what was very basic care planning. I'd been working at Torview then for probably 11 or 12 years at that point. I was facilitating a lot of activities, carrying a caseload, and sometimes change is as good as a rest, and the opportunity came up with, there'd been some changes at the Bayview Centre. I was encouraged to apply for it, and there were interviews and I was successful at it. I suppose I always wanted to try and help to direct where the service was going. It allowed me with the manager to look at that and to learn how you might go about that, and I also got the opportunity during that time, as well as helping to manage the team, learning skills around how to supervise staff, learned the importance of mandatory training and maintaining it. I had an opportunity to start working with the social work practice and learning team. Something that they knew I was passionate about was person-centred thinking and planning. Whereas I didn't really want to be a manager, I was encouraged to apply for it. So I did, and I'm very lucky to say I was successful at that. It really appealed to me again to the notion of trying to develop and steer the service. I was asked to take on that role, and it ended up being about 18 months. So I was managing, it's one service but two teams, and I went to work with the Bayview team with a lot of people with very complex care needs, and I learnt a lot. I miss facilitating activity groups now, but I get to set the tone with staff and help them develop those skills, and I've developed a lot of tools for helping them think about running activities. When I look back at my own story, I took the opportunities as they came up. I didn't look for the progression, but I got the opportunity to be nourished by my colleagues and by the training that I got. Those things were the natural next step. I suppose I just grabbed the opportunities as they come along. There's been no long-term plan. But the qualifications certainly helped me to understand what I was doing along the way, the vocational qualifications. It's because I didn't have a degree or any other formal education. The qualifications that I've been able to have the opportunity to participate in and achieve came around really from the point of view is that when we're in post, we're given the opportunity by our organisations to achieve a qualification that helps us to confirm that we have the skills to do our post. The NVQ and the QCF that I've been able to achieve, the Level 4 and the Level 5 awards, diplomas in health and social care and leadership in health and social care for adults. They taught me a lot about why we do what we do. The job role that I had at the time allowed me to enrol in a NVQ Level 4, and that was in adult leadership for in social care, and it's something that was completed over the course of a couple of years. So it was a mixture of theory and observation and reflective accounts, and it covered a wide range of subjects. So it consolidated things like formal supervision with staff, care planning, how to take a lead and share successful client reviews. So looking at the support that's provided for people in I suppose in our daycare setting or any other setting, and how you make decisions with people as opposed to for them or about them. Qualifications allow you to understand what good practice and legislation is saying, and it helps us to, I suppose, really shape what we're doing and understand why we're doing it so that we provide good services for people. Ongoing training that's always important is things like the ongoing mandatory training that keeps us current and alive. It constantly changes, things like basic life support, first aid at work training, which is important to keep people safe, especially as we have more and more people with more complex care needs. A key training that I was very keen to have my staff involved in was swallow awareness training. We did that a number of years ago, and we keep it alive because we get a lot of people with swallow difficulties now referred to us. Gives you the understanding of why you do what you do. Well, there were development plans throughout my career with my line managers, looking at aspects of where they would have encouraged maybe or helped me to identify goals to move forward, like the formal qualifications that I've had. So that's about an agreeing an approach with somebody who sees something in you that maybe you don't necessarily see yourself. I can recognise where that strategic approach to looking at making social care workforce have opportunities to be professional, build qualifications to have learning and knowledge and use that for part of their, for their skills is useful. As a manager, I like to be supportive. I think this care in practice framework will help us to plan journeys for staff better in the future and also help them to feel that they have a professional journey and will stay in the business. It's about looking for those opportunities with staff. If they're passionate about something, it's about giving them the opportunity to learn and maybe to try something and to learn from their own mistakes, but then to formalise it with qualifications if you can. There's a strange term, it's called succession planning. So we all have a time limit as to when we're going to stay in work, and we should take the opportunities to support, encourage and provide training opportunities and mentorship for the colleagues that are coming up after us.